Hello, we are Group 1, and the research we conducted was on the effect of expression and gender on trust perceptions. Group 1 consisting of Kevin Tang, Giselle Garcia, and Elsie Rodriguez. The first study we found to be relevant to our study was conducted by Belkman and Rothman. They studied the effect of emotional expression on perceptions of trust, using vignettes describing different emotions such as happiness, sadness, anger. They researched whether participants' perceptions differed depending on emotion presented. Researchers found that certain emotions reduced trust, while others increased trust. We felt that this article would help support and explain why a study such as ours could be useful. The following study, conducted by Dong et al., researches the effect of facial expressions and facial gender on trustworthiness judgments. Researchers conducted a 3x2 factorial design with facial expression and facial gender and found that happy faces and female faces were more likely to be perceived as trustworthy. Furthermore, researchers also suggested that social context could affect trustworthiness judgment. We found that this study was resourceful as its overall structure was in several ways similar to ours. The final study was conducted by Lee et al. In 2017. They studied the effects of facial appearance and behavior on trust beliefs. Researchers conducted a 2x2 factorial design with bases of high and low trustworthiness and behavioral statements with high and low cooperativeness. Participants were asked to rate trustworthiness of subjects based on the subject's appearance and behavior. Researchers found that the facial appearance and behavioral statements had a significant impact on trust. The present study used two independent variables. One independent variable was gender. Level 1 was male, while level 2 was female. Our second independent variable was emotional expression. Level 1 was smiling, while level 2 was neutral. Our dependent variable was trustworthiness, or the perceived ability to be relied on as truthful or honest. The images you see here are two individuals we recruited as models for our study. The female model was photographed in a smiling as well as a neutral expression. The male model was also photographed in a smiling and neutral expression. Participants were either shown the smiling expression in a female or male gender expression, or a neutral expression in a male or female expression.
For the present study, we hypothesized that smiling expressions will be perceived more trustworthy than neutral expression. We also hypothesized that females would be perceived more trustworthy than males. We hypothesized an interaction such that the effect of gender, male versus female, on perceptions of trust depends on the facial expression, smiling versus neutral, of the subject. For the study, we recruited our participants randomly using Amazon Mechanical Turk. We recruited a total of 160 participants. The demographic breakdown are as shown in the charts. We had 85 males, 74 females, and one prefer not to say. 43% of those participants consisted of the ages of 30 to 45. 37.5% consisted of ages 18 to 29. 10% consisted of ages 46 to 55. 8.8% consisted of ages 55 and older. And lastly, 0.6% consisted of ages below 18. Our vignette example in our method slide says, it's your birthday weekend and you're headed out of town for the weekend. You're looking for someone to pet sit your furry best friend at your place. While searching for someone on a popular pet sitting website, this profile comes up. This is Samantha. She has an adequate rating and has 1 year experience in pet sitting. Unfortunately, reviews are confidential and assessments are left up to you. Please use the following scale as an indication of how trustworthy you find Samantha. All participants were assigned to one of the 4 conditions between subjects. It is the same scenario for all conditions, but we changed the guy's name to Sam instead of Samantha. For the study, we utilized the trustworthiness measure created by Galangshi and Na. The measure lists various terms associated with trustworthiness. For the present study, we reversed scores 2 items highlighted with the arrows. The arrow on the left says reliable. The arrow on the right is pointing on distrustful of this person.
In regards to the results, a between-subject analysis of variance, or ANOVA, was conducted to analyze test scores regarding perceptions of trust. As indicated on the data to the right, the results showed a significant main effect of facial expression. There was, however, no main effect on gender such that perception of trust was not significantly different for males and females, regardless of facial expression. Additionally, there was no significant interaction found. Continuing on the results section, we compared the individual condition means using a multiple independent sample t-test with a Bonferroni correction to maintain an alpha of 0.05. As indicated on the data to the right, none of the simple effects had statistically significant differences. Lastly, on the results section, we have a figure that presents the average trust ratings of participants when presented with pictures of man or woman and facial expressions. Looking at the pattern of results displayed, it appears that females were considered slightly more trustworthy than men. Furthermore, it suggests a slight difference in trust ratings, with facial expressions in which smiling subjects were perceived as more trustworthy. Although the figure shows a difference in ratings, statistically, the difference isn't significant. Also, as noted on the figure, lower values indicate higher levels of trust. As highlighted in our previous slides, previous research suggests an effect of expression and gender on trust perceptions. Based on our findings, we did not find a main effect for gender or an interaction. Thus, our hypothesis on gender and interaction was not supported. However, our findings does support our hypothesis for expression, such that a smiling expression was to be perceived more trustworthy than a neutral one. Continuing on to the discussion section, we look at the limitations and future directions of the study. One limitation discovered could regard the measure we have used. The terminology used in the measure may have confused participants such that the terms may have been vague or misunderstood. Additionally, the question choices may have not been diverse enough, resulting in a bias in their choices. They might have chosen one end of the scale continuously, as the questions are more or less the same in nature. As mentioned in our hypothesis, what we are looking at is the effect of emotional expression. However, the stimuli that we have used may have been too limiting, as participants may not have considered the emotions tied with the expression. Rather than a picture, we could have created a video that clearly displays the emotions of happiness or neutrality, so that the participant could have a clear representation of such emotions. In regards to future studies, we could include more emotional expressions. An interesting topic would be studying the effects of other emotional expressions such as anger or sadness. Additionally, as mentioned in our limitations, future studies could include videos that display behaviors, as it may be a better indication of the emotion being expressed. Lastly, future studies could also test different social scenarios, as certain scenarios may affect how trust is formed. In conclusion, findings of this study suggest an effect, regardless of gender, of expression on perceptions of trust. Utilizing this knowledge in situations requiring trust could improve how people perceive you. So in short, smile some more.